So here we've got finished product of a full longboard snap, clean in half with a huge D-lamp. See how this goes. Let's see how this thing's going to come out. Set up contraption for snap log. So basically what I did here was line it up and then just stick it back together just so I can check my right angle for the rocker. So we've got it back together. I ended up routing two kind of stringer pins because it was a bit flexy, so I put them either side of the stringer. The board's a log anyway, so it definitely doesn't have much flex, and the guy didn't really care about weight. So he was kind of interested in the idea. So even though he didn't really care about weight, there was a huge gap in between where the board had crushed itself, creased, snap sort of thing. So what I did here was route out blocks either side and route out areas 4 blocks either side and then set them in. That way it just keeps the weight down a bit more. Plus I didn't feel too comfortable having huge blobs of Q-cell either side. Like you can see here, blocks are put in, which fits kind of snug, and then you'll bog over the top of this anyway, so it comes up nice and clean. So now just prep it all back, scuff it up, get it ready for your Q-cell bog about to go over the top. This Q-cell bog gives you the nice, smooth, consistent finish. That way if you aren't to do a spray over the top, at least it looks nice and clean. There's nothing worse than huge air bubble holes in the Q-cell which have just been filled with resin underneath what could come out pretty nice. And don't forget to bevel your edges wherever your Q-cell is going to hit. That way it gives a nice transition. So that last little clip was just me blocking in the prep before I did this layer of Q-cell. As you can see, this layer of Q-cell is nice and smooth. I'm just using 40 or 60 grit to flatten it out, getting it obviously as flat as possible, because this is basically your final step before you're going to glass it. So top and bottom, use your hands, feel it out, and then block to finish. You've always got to use the block to finish. I feel like it just gets a couple of extra little bumps out that the sander might have missed, because the sander's rotating. I just think gives you a little safety bumper, and it seems like the right thing to do, and I know it works, that's for sure. So you've blocked it, you've sanded it, you've blown it off, and you're ready for glass. As you can see here, I've got my patches cut. Slight angles either side. You can do a lot more drastic than what I've done. Sometimes I don't really feel it's necessary. I'll basically pull the resin from the middle, put a big blob in the middle, and then pull either side. That way the glass with repairs, I feel that it stays in the right spot, exactly where you want it. If you try and pull too quick, you just end up sliding all your glass around and you'll have different size laps that go around your rail, which is definitely not what you want. It makes it harder later on to blend it all in, and it obviously changes the strength and integrity of the repair, seeing as most of your strength is going to be in your glass that you do. So wet your rails out, make sure you get them all wet, squeeze them out as best you can. You're always going to have lumps and bumps here and there. Lumps and bumps of resin, I mean. That's excess or whatever, just grind that out later on. Pull it all out, pull it tight, and then work your way to the rails, and then lap them. So the camera ran out when I blended my laps, but basically you filler coat your laps or your edges and blend that in on the top, and now I am glassing the top here. So glass bottom first and then top second. So this is the exact same process as we just did. Wet it out from the middle, pull it out, wrap your laps, get everything soaking wet with resin, and then pull it around from there. Always good to spend more time doing your laps. It's a lot easier getting a nice rail shape when your glass is all nice and perfect and you don't have huge resin drips drooping around the rail. It feels a lot nicer, plus whoever you're fixing the board for, whether it's yourself or the customer, they're going to be a hell of a lot happier with such a good job and nice tight laps with no air in them. So definitely better off spending heaps more time on the laps. Not too long obviously, because your resin will go off, but definitely leave yourself enough time to get this bit sorted. As you can see, I've got my Nikita heavier sander. These sanders are a lot heavier than the Milwaukee ones. And here basically I have filler coated both the top and the bottom of what I just glassed on the snap. And I'm blending all the edges and all of the bottom and top in. That way when I do my final finish coat, I've got more room for sanding, less chance of sand throughs, and a way better chance of a final good, nice finished product. This way as well, because I'm going to polish it, it's going to come up a lot neater and a lot better with no burn throughs. So here we've got the filler coat. This is my final filler finish coat, final filler finish coat, which is filler resin, but you're doing it super nice, super smooth and runny. You want no bits and blobs and crappy bits in this. That way when you finish sanded, it's going to come up pretty much close to perfect. Bottom first, then top, and smooth over your laps to make them nice and smooth like we were saying before. No drips or droops. That way all you should be able to do here is take down your little edge that you've got, and then you are pretty much good to go. So with this being the final finish sand, I've started off with the medium 8-inch pad with 240 grit to get a super nice, smooth, consistent finish. Blending edges first, then over the top. If you ever feel like the disc isn't cutting as good, just grab a new disc and put it on. You don't want to heat up the board and have heat bubbles basically that turn into little welts, and you've got to cut them out, refill them and reglass them. This would be the worst possible scenario getting to this stage of the repair for something like that to happen. So you're all over with the pad. Nice smooth swipes. All consistent. Try and keep the same weight on the sander as well. You don't want to push hard in some spots and then lighter in others. Then you're going to have dips and bumps, which you don't want. As always, finish off with hand sanding. Figure out what the finish of the board is, whether it's straight lines or orbital finish. With this one, because it's going to be a gloss coat, which I've already done, or gloss polish finish, we're going to do straight lines all over. With this particular longboard snap, the guy wanted a navy blue stripe around the middle of his board. So this is the colour we ended up with. So this has been sprayed, taped off, sprayed top and bottom, and then wet rubbed 400, 600, 800, 1200, 1500, 2000, and then polished with the buffer pad to give it that nice, smooth, shiny, glossy finish. Any comments, guys, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Any questions, any more information you need, head over to our Instagram. We post up on there all the time, and let us know how we can help you out. Thanks for watching.